Over the past year, the crypto market has absolutely erupted, with mostly meme coins performing very, very well, leaving a lot of XRP holders to wonder, will XRP miss this bull run? Should you even buy any XRP? Or if you hold XRP, should you just continue holding, or should you sell all of it and move your money into other cryptocurrencies? These are some of the questions that we get. So in this video, I'm going to address some of your concerns. Also, I'm going to talk about what I see happening in the crypto market, how I'm properly positioning myself to benefit this entire bull run, what's happening right now for the Dow Jones Industrial Average compared to the Bitcoin price chart, what BlackRock has been doing quietly behind the scenes with virtually 99% of the population not paying any attention, that is extremely bullish. What's happening that's extremely bearish for US banks in the United States that's much bigger than what happened around the 2008 financial crisis. We're talking about where we are in this macro market cycle, specifically for the altcoin market. What's coming next for Bitcoin before the rotation into altcoins takes place. What just happened on the Dogecoin price chart that is signaling what's about to happen next for one of the biggest altcoin bull runs in history. So we're getting into Dogecoin versus the US dollar, comparing back to the past bull run. We're also going to talk about Tether's market cap dominance compared to Bitcoin's market cap dominance. And of course, the XRP to the US dollar price chart and what we see happening on a key indicator that is showing us confluence to the past and what you can do to prepare. If you only hold 100 XRP, maybe you hold 1,000 XRP or more, or you hold 0 XRP and you're wondering, what is the best cryptocurrency to buy now? You're going to absolutely love this video. Comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish, and if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree. Confirm it by tapping the like button, tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So before we get into the XRP to the US dollar price chart, we need to give a macro market look on what's been happening to the crypto market and then dive specifically into XRP and the most likely scenario to happen next. Because over the past year, the crypto market's been doing very, very well, specifically meme coins like MOG, Bonk, you got Pepe, Floki, and then you have other cryptocurrencies in the real world asset space, artificial intelligence, gaming projects, decentralized physical infrastructure, the list goes on, performing very well. And we're going to be talking about different altcoins that we see with massive potential this bull run. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with those, and also breaking down top fundamental and technical analysis that we see taking place. The first thing that I want to show you on the charts is the Dow Jones Industrial Average compared to Bitcoin and going back to the past. So you see these vertical lines up on the chart right here. The first one going back to November of 2020 when the Dow broke the high before the COVID crash. So you see January 2020 leading into March, the Dow was all the way back here and it was forming new highs. We were forming higher highs and higher lows. And then we saw this black swan event in a massive crash, then V-shaped recovery back to the high. We got rejected from it in August of 2020. Simultaneously, if we look at the bottom of the chart and what was happening with Bitcoin, when the Black Swan event hit, Bitcoin wasn't safe either. Bitcoin crashed over 60% in 3 weeks. And then the Dow crashed. If we were to measure this, this was absolutely disgusting, 38%. So crypto is more volatile, obviously, and it's more volatile to the upside too. So where you're going to make gains in the stock market, there's even bigger gains to be made in crypto. And in my opinion, the crypto market is like the stock market back in the early 1900s with how small the market cap is compared to the overall stock market. Because if you go to coinmarketcap.com, this whole industry is only a couple $1 trillion, whereas the stock market is, like 60, 70, 80, 90 trillion dollars. Even right now, what is the stock market? Nearing $100 trillion. You guys can correct me in the comments below, but it's up there. What we need to focus on is the confluence on the chart in what happened when the Dow broke the all-time high right here in November of 2020. You can see we started forming higher highs and higher lows up until, roughly March of 2021. The Dow continued to break out higher and higher. And at that same time, Bitcoin broke the high of 2019 when the Dow started to break out and started to breach upwards of the all-time high. And it wasn't really until, December of 2020 that Bitcoin finally broke the all-time high, went into price discovery and did a 2x upwards of $40,000 before the next major correction took place. Whereas the Dow just constantly marched up higher. We didn't see as steep of a correction until the bear market kicked in the 8th of November. Bitcoin's rally was done as well too. And then we just saw lower highs and lower lows being formed for the Dow alongside Bitcoin until the bottom came in. Once the bottom came in, roughly around October of 2020 for the Dow, Bitcoin bottomed out around November of 2022. So Bitcoin currently is lagging behind the Dow and the rest of the stock market. And as you can see right here, in December of 2023, the Dow broke the high, similar to what happened back in November of 2020, and has been forming higher highs and higher lows. And right now, it's going into price discovery again for the Dow, whereas Bitcoin is lagging behind. So in my opinion, as liquidity flows into the stock market and the stock market continues to break out and Bitcoin continues to range, you can see we've been at lower highs, lower lows after Bitcoin's halving, even though Bitcoin still has done well since November of 2022, since the bear market low, it's lagging behind the Dow. That's just a fact. And back here, we didn't see Bitcoin, lag too far behind. It just kept forming higher highs and higher lows and inevitably broke out rapidly. So in my opinion, we are on the verge of a massive breakout as Bitcoin gears up to retest the all-time high, sitting currently at $68,000. And when Bitcoin finally does breach the all-time high, that this consolidation period has just been building a foundation for a massive liquidity injection to come soon. And this is leading altcoins to absolutely fly. And one of the reasons why is based on data of what BlackRock's been doing. They bought a total of $1 billion worth of Bitcoin this week. Why would the world's largest money management company that manages over $10 trillion be buying Bitcoin if Bitcoin was going to go down? They know how to manage money for a reason. That's why they manage trillions of dollars. And so if they are bullish on Bitcoin, that tells me everything that I need to know that I should be bullish, not only on Bitcoin, but on the top altcoins, because I'm bearish on banks, and what's happening with unrealized losses at US banks are 7 times higher than during the 2008 financial crisis. And so this is creating massive uncertainty for people to hold more than $250,000 in a bank account because the FDIC only insures up to $250K. We saw what happened with Silicon Valley Bank collapse. When Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, Bitcoin spiked up and rallied, back in 2023. And now, on the verge of these other banks collapsing based on these losses, do you really think it's smart for this massive institutions to hold billions of dollars or trillions of dollars in a bank account when the banks are on the verge of collapsing? Of course not. That's why we see BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK 21 shares, Bitwise, and these massive companies that manage billions or even trillions of dollars in assets under management diving full-fledged into crypto through Bitcoin right now. Whereas retail investors, the common folk, aren't even batting an eye at Bitcoin right now. If we look at Google Trends, this shows the sentiment of the masses in terms of search interest. And as you can see back here, back in 2021, during the peak of the market, everyone was excited about crypto. Everyone was researching Bitcoin. Virtually everyone, 90+% of the population was buying at the all-time highs when it's the worst time to buy. That's why the average retail investor gets wrecked, because they wait until it's popular to get in the markets, whereas smart investors like yourself, they buy when nobody cares and they pay attention to what the institutions are doing. They follow the central banks like what we do on this channel. And so back here in May of 2021, the all-time interest on Google Trends was 100 out of 100. This is when it's time to get out of the markets, when, your grandma, your grandpa, your cousins are asking you about it during, your birthday parties, during Christmas, your taxi driver is asking you about crypto, and just everyone's interested. Don't necessarily gauge it on what's happening in the physical world, gauge it based on search engine optimization, right? I've been specializing in search engine optimization for a decade now to study, how to rank blog posts, articles, videos, hence why you're watching these videos and how you even find this channel in the first place. So because I study search engine optimization, this gives me kind of an insider's edge into the crypto market because it's all psychology and it's all search interest. Because in order for Bitcoin to go up, there needs to be a lot of people buying it, both institutions that are getting in early adopters, early investors, the innovators, and then the laggards that the institutions and the early investors are dumping on and selling on. So when late investors are getting in the market right here, May 16th through the 22nd of 2021, let's look at where the charts were. We were right here at over $60,000 after that whole run up took place from $20,000 to $60,000. So 20, 40, 60. Bitcoin already did a 3x by then, and everyone was on Google Trends researching Bitcoin at this point. That told me that it was an amazing time to sell and hedge out of the markets for that first peak. And then by the time we topped out and the market saw a drop down, so did interest and so did search volume. And by then it was over. I mean, that was the true high, the technical high of the market, the double top that took place for Bitcoin when we rallied all the way back up here by November of 2021 to the all-time high of that bull run. That was really complacency dead cat bounce. So in terms of Google interest, this is when everyone was getting out of the markets after that peak came in. So the real question is, where are we right now? Are we at the levels that we were at back in April and May of 2021 when Google Trends was all the way up here between 90 and 100, where everyone in the world that had an internet connection was virtually researching Bitcoin? Guys, we can't go higher than 100. So when we're 100 out of 100, that's a telltale sign to get out. Where are we right now? We are at 17 out of 100. We are virtually barely off the bear market lows. I mean, if we look at where we were for the bear market lows, by the middle of November of 2022, when Bitcoin was down around $15,000, right here, we're at 15 out of 100. So the fact that we're at 16 out of 100 tells me that retail does not care about Bitcoin right now, and institutions are capitalizing on that. This is why BlackRock is buying more Bitcoin than ever before. So if a 10 trillion, guys, not a $1 billion company, not a millionaire, they're a $10 trillion company, $10 trillion assets under management. If they are buying right now and search interest of retail investors are at barely above where we were for the bear market lows, that is the most bullish signal I have ever seen in my life to go all in with crypto. Now, this is not financial advice. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are just purely for education, informational purposes only. All that I do is I present facts to you, and it's up to you to do your own research, because my opinion doesn't mean anything if it's not backed off facts, right? If I have an opinion, for example, if my opinion back in May of 2021 was that crypto's going to the moon and that's the best time to buy, well, the facts suggest otherwise, so my opinion is irrelevant. So right now, well, if my opinion is bullish and the facts suggest bullish, well, then the facts is what we look at, and then that's what I base my opinions off of. And so crypto's still very risky. You can lose money right now because, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're just going to break out and breach into price discovery and do what we did back after December of 2020 and just 2 or 3x really fast, because Bitcoin's market cap is up there right now, and it's going to take another $1 trillion to do a 2x, another $2 trillion to do a 3x. And so that's going to take a little bit of time. But what we can look at right here is what's happening on the price chart, and we can see for confluence on the indicator. So right now I have the stochastic RSI up on the daily chart, and we can see Bitcoin has been forming lower highs since March of 2024. And so if we look what happened on Google interest by the time we were at March 12th of 2024, sure enough, between the 3rd and the 9th, we are at 51 out of 100. So people were coming back in the market. They were buying at these levels. And then, of course, we saw the sell-off took place and this consolidation phase where interest is back down again. But price has remained relatively stable going sideways for Bitcoin. Sure, we had periods where we'd sell off all the way down here, form a lower low at 56,000, come back up, then a lower low at 53,000, then a lower high at 70,000, then a lower low all the way down here at 49,000. And we've just been ranging in this slight downtrend or this bull flag right here. And ultimately, we need to break this descending resistance in yellow that we're at right now. If we can break this and hold this, this is a very good sign, because we need to not only breach this descending resistance and hold it as support, but we need to break the high of the 29th of July of 2024 and hold that as support too. So we're at a very critical level for Bitcoin as we've been forming higher highs and higher lows since the 6th of August. And we are in this new, uptrend right here where we need to continuously make a higher high now in order to sustain this uptrend. Now, if we get rejected from this level right here, the next stop in the support to the downside is roughly around $65,000 to roughly $66,000. We're also trying to attempt a bearish cross above 80 on the stochastic RSI, where the K line is at 95, the D line is at 97. So on the daily, we are in overbought conditions right here, which would tell me that we may get rejected to fake everyone out from these levels right here. Even if we push a little bit higher and technically break above this descending resistance on the daily, we could come back down to these levels right here, consolidate for a bit before pushing higher. And this would look like what happened back here from the 12th of September to the 30th of September, because if we form a bearish cross above 80 on the stochastic RSI, well, that means that momentum is shifting over from the bulls to the bears, but it doesn't mean we just crash all the way back down to the descending support, that we've been bouncing off of ever since the 30th of April of this year. Because as you guys can see on the daily stochastic RSI, when we are above 80, we formed a bearish cross, but we stayed above 80. We kind of bobbled around up here for a period of time. And what this looked like on the price chart was a rally up, a short-term little dip, continuation, dip, and then ultimately breaking the high of the 28th of September. And so what this could look like on the price chart, again, this is just pure speculation here. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but it could look something like this, where we try and breach this level, we get rejected, we come back down to liquidate a lot of the people that are longing the markets right now. We bounce off one of these two levels, which could be around $65,000, maybe $64,000 down to this level right here. We see a continuation to the upside. We finally break into price discovery, come all the way up to this ascending resistance right here, get rejected from this, and just chop within this range going into election until we finally breach into true price discovery as we just continuously march higher. Remember, we don't just go up and instantly into new all-time highs forever, because that's not healthy. We see choppy trading action where we just form higher highs and higher lows within a channel. We could also come all the way back down to this ascending support right here. If you guys just see from the 5th of August to the 6th of September, and we just draw this bullish channel right here, we could come back down to this level, bounce off of it, and continue the uptrend. But in my opinion, all signs are leading to a continuation of the uptrend, regardless of whatever happens in this range. So if I just clear up my chicken scratch hand drawing here, anything that happens between the all-time high of the 14th of March to the low of the 4th of August is pretty much irrelevant, because we're just ranging sideways. And so we can chop around within this range for a period of time until one of two things happen. Number one, we break the all-time high and go into price discovery, hold it as support. Then now we had a macro trend reversal. Or number two, we break the support and flip it into resistance, which would be a trend reversal to the downside. So we have to look at probabilities and what's the most likely case scenario on the macro. Are we going to see an uptrend, or are we going to see a downtrend going into 2025? Well, this brings me to an eagle eye view of the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and how far we are into this macro market cycle based on the 4-year Bitcoin halving cycle theory, and also the global liquidity cycles. When liquidity expands and retracts, we're going into expansion, which leans us more towards a bullish expansion rather than a bearish contraction and a downtrend. So when we look at where we were from the high of 2017 until where we are essentially right now in terms of a time frame, that's 1,065 days, leading us to the 29th of November of 2020. So as you can see, from August of 2020 until November, Bitcoin consolidated before Q4 of the year. And then once we went into November, we saw this breakout, back test of the previous range, and then a continuation of the uptrend. Well, simultaneously enough, if we measure from November at the true all-time high for that bull run, even though the technical high was like May when Google interest had peaked out, well, 1,065 days brings us to the 9th of October, about 10 days ago. And so as Bitcoin breaks out, this is telling me that we're about to see an injection of liquidity come into the market, either to the all-time high or past the all-time high, and then a potential back test of the all-time high for Bitcoin to do something like this as we go into December and January of 2025. Now, how high we go is anyone's guess. Nobody knows. But the fact that we've consolidated from the March high and we've just formed lower highs and lower lows for over 200 days tells me that we're due for liquidity injection in a breakout to come soon, because there's only two types of markets we can be in. We could be in a ranging market, which is boring, sideways, trading action, or we're in a trending market, trending up or trending down. And so ranging markets that are just boring sideways, where we just bounce within a range, which is a resistance and a support, it doesn't last forever. And so because we see Bitcoin go through these ranges for like 3 months, 6 months, we're in one of the longest ranging periods where we're due for a breakout here soon. Now, it doesn't mean that that breakout's just going to happen immediately. We also need to look at other data points. Like, for example, the Bitcoin stock to flow model in the days until the next halving, and what has happened every single time to give us a weight of probabilities of what's going to happen next based on math. And so if we look at each time that Bitcoin halved, what happened after each halving and how long we consolidated for, well, the last halving that took place was around May of 2020, and then it took until October of 2020 to November, what I just showed you guys on the chart, to go from red to orange for us to really start breaking out. And then from orange to yellow is when we went parabolic upwards of $50,000, $60,000. And so that consolidation phase lasted about 5 to 6 months, very similar to what we're going through now. If we look back to the cycle before then and we were to zoom in for you guys right here, when we went through Bitcoin's halving, we saw a sell-off going into Bitcoin's halving. This was roughly around July of 2016. The true breakout didn't really happen until we went from orange to yellow before we went parabolic back up to the stock to flow line. And this was April 26th of 2017. So from July of 2016, that was like 9 months of Bitcoin attempting to break out. And then true price discovery, where real money was made, was after April into the next year. So this is why 2025 is gearing up to be an amazing year, and 2024 is the prep work specifically for regulation by stablecoins, legislation, getting Donald Trump in office. But inevitably, whether Donald Trump gets in office or Kamala Harris gets in office, we're seeing an expansion in global liquidity. And we see these cycles play out like they do every single time, where every single time people say this time it's different, and then every single time it's not different. It plays out the same time as it does every single time because people have short attention spans and they don't remember the past. That's why we repeat the same mistakes. That's why we see what happened in Rome is kind of happening in the United States, because even with history books telling us the mistakes that were made in the past through the debauching of the country's currency, like what's happening with the US dollar, they were like clipping coinage back then. Well, human beings are very stubborn. People in power have egos and they don't learn from history books because they weren't around during that time. So they just make the same mistakes, and that leads to inevitable increase in stuff that is a hedge against inflation. So that's why gold has gone into new all-time highs. That's why silver is breaking out. That's why real estate is inflated. That's why crypto is going up. We're in an everything bubble. Now, that doesn't mean that the everything bubble will last forever and crypto and stocks just keep going up. We're going to see a nasty crash from this, but you can make money before that crash happens. Looking back to the cycle before then, we can see November of 2012, it took until roughly January of 2013. So about 3 months, because the market cap was smaller. Bitcoin, you can see the price was $18. So it didn't take that much money to move Bitcoin. So that's why the consolidation phase was shorter. You know, it just took quick capital injection, and then Bitcoin skyrockets up and goes upwards of $200. And then a longer consolidation period from April of 2013 until we broke that high in November of 2013. About 7 months of consolidation because there was more money in Bitcoin. So the fact that Bitcoin's market cap is upwards of $1 trillion, that's why we're seeing a longer 200 days of consolidation, because it takes more money to move Bitcoin. But the fact that it's still at where it was 6 months ago in terms of price relative to the all-time high, very, very close, but yet Google interest is down and retail is out of the market. Now institutions have the green light to pump in even more money because they're buying before retail does. So when Bitcoin breaches into price discovery, if we were to go to where we are right now on the Bitcoin stock to flow chart, when Bitcoin breaches into price discovery and goes from red to orange, it's literally going to look exactly like it did in the past. You can mark my words. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm okay with being wrong, but based on probabilities and math and numbers, if you want to relate this to gambling, for the people that think crypto is like gambling, well, this is like going to Vegas and having an 80 to 90% odds of getting a blackjack here. You still have a 10 to 20% odds of busting or the dealer getting a blackjack, which could be an absolute market meltdown, stock market crash, crypto market crash, real estate market crash, the bubble popping and us just rolling over and crashing back down to like $40,000 or $30,000. However, if I had an 80 or 90% odds of winning in Vegas, you would clean up shop. You would win more than you lose. That's the key here. You want to win more than you lose. You're still going to lose. That's inevitable. On some plays, if you're diversified, not every single altcoin project is going to work out. But if you position yourself in the right narratives before Bitcoin breaches into price discovery and that rotation into altcoins take place, then you can benefit heavily. Now, what's a key signal and what altcoin runs usually first each bull run that signals an altcoin rally is coming? Well, that's Dogecoin. Dogecoin is making moves right now. It broke above the important 12-cent horizontal level in the daily 200 moving average, pretty much clear skies above at this point, which is an indicator for how well meme coins have been doing arguably Doge has been left behind. So as Doge plays catch up and we see a rotation back into Dogecoin, well, let's look at the chart and let's see what happened last bull run and see if we can spot some confluence here. So when Dogecoin rallied to an all-time high in January of 2018 at about 2 cents, we saw the bear market go into effect, massive sell-off, and then this consolidation period all the way down here forming lower highs, lower lows. Dogecoin bottomed out in COVID, and then it broke this descending resistance roughly right here in July of 2020, rallied back up to the 0.236 on the Fibonacci retracement tool, and then saw another sell-off back down to back test this descending resistance line right here on the left-hand side of the screen in yellow as support, bounced off of it, and then started marching higher and inevitably broke out back to the all-time high, a 4.236. It broke to the all-time high and then consolidated for a bit, then did a 4.236 extension before going well beyond that, upwards of like 70, 80 cents. So if you would have bought Dogecoin all the way down here at 0.001, even if you were a little late to the party and you bought, right here when Dogecoin finally started to break out, let's say at 0.005, right into the top of that bull market, that's a 12,000% or 120x. Now, Dogecoin's market cap is larger. I don't think you're going to get 120x out of Dogecoin. I do think Dogecoin's going to do very well this bull run because it is the largest market cap leader. It's like the Bitcoin of the meme coin market, and it's been lagging behind a bit. Now, what we can also see here is we see this descending resistance that Dogecoin was rejected from all through the bear market bottom, going into complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, anger. We see a rally up right here by October of 2022, and then inevitably depression where everyone's out when Dogecoin was at 5 cents and comes back up, back tests this descending resistance, consolidates it at it for a little bit, then inevitably broke the resistance on the 26th of February 2024, did exactly what happened, coming back up to the 0.236 level as it did in July of 2020, and then sees a sell-off all the way back down to this descending resistance on the right-hand side of the screen in yellow as support, and is now bouncing off of it. So in my opinion, Dogecoin's chart looks absolutely incredible right now. And it looks like what it did right here before we saw a massive breakout. So in my opinion, we'll be, and there's no guarantee here, right? I could be completely wrong, but just looking at the chart, this is incredible confluence. We saw a bullish cross right here below 20 on the stochastic RSI. If I move my camera so you guys can see these levels right here, where the K line and the D line were all the way down at 1, and the K line crossed above the D line, momentum shifted from bearish to bullish, and the stochastic RSI rocketed all the way up here above 80. And so this is on the weekly chart as well too. So this was incredibly bullish. Well, what just happened recently? We confirmed a bullish cross, in September, and then we passed above 20. So this was a confirmation. And now the K line's at 70, the D line's at 67. Momentum has shifted from bearish over to bullish. So in my opinion, we're just going to keep marching higher until the K line, the D line are inevitably above 80 before the next consolidation and sell-off takes place. Now, when we confirm a bearish cross above 80, it doesn't mean that the rally's over. It just means that there was a massive amount of liquidity that flowed in the market very, very quick to get back above 80 while the price simultaneously breaks out. And when we see a bearish cross take place, like what we saw happen here back in February of 2021, we see a short-term consolidation period, whether it's a week, a month, 3 months after a massive breakout. That's where Dogecoin cools off for a little bit before the next leg up, like what happened right here. If I were to zoom in on the chart for you guys so you can see this, this is like what happened right here for this breakout for Dogecoin up to the 0.618 level right here to roughly 0.013 on the 20th of December. And then it saw a sell off down to 0.006, consolidated until the 25th of January. So for about a month, Dogecoin consolidated at the 618 level right below its all-time high before a massive green candle came in to push it to the next level. And simultaneously, you guys can see we saw a bearish cross above 80, but it stayed above 80 for a period of time because we were in a new uptrend. And so I would expect something like that to happen for Dogecoin for the next rally up in the market. Even though we could chop within this range for a period of time, I would expect a liquidity injection to bring us up to a 0.382, anywhere between 0.382 to 0.618 before the next consolidation takes place going into 2025 to do something like this. And then for a final blow off top for Dogecoin to take place towards the end of this bull run. And it happens quick. As you guys can see, when Dogecoin started to break out, the time period between the breakout and the all-time high for the last bull run, this is why you have to be ready and you have to be positioned properly, because the real breakout happened at the end of January of 2021, and then the all-time high was on May of 2021, just 98 days later. So you only have really 3 months to prepare. Otherwise, you're left chasing these green candles and buying these peaks, waiting for a breakout because you're buying into the FOMO. So what usually happens here is when Dogecoin starts to break out, in a matter of a week to 2 weeks, a massive green candle comes in, and then everyone buys that green candle, and then they're pissed off because then Dogecoin consolidates for a month or 2 months. And that's a long time in crypto, right? If we're consolidating for a month after a massive breakout, then people get impatient. They sell their position right here. They start rotating into something else that they think can rally faster. And then Dogecoin breaks out again. And then they're left repeating the same vicious cycle, buying into rallies. And so that's why time in the markets always beats trying to time the markets on the way up. If you literally just buy and hold, that's how you win. I accumulated Dogecoin all the way down at 6 cents to 10 cents within these levels right here. And I've literally just been holding. That's all I've been doing. And sure, there are some other projects that, I could have flipped in and out of, but that's why I have a diversified portfolio where I have my Dogecoin position. I'm just leaving it for this bull run. And then I have other lower market cap and also medium cap and large cap projects that I choose to diversify into that could see bigger gains than Dogecoin, because Bitcoin's market cap dominance is still in an uptrend right now. As you can see, we're in this rising wedge on the right-hand side of the screen as Bitcoin's dominance is at 58%. In my opinion, this is going to continuously march higher, and we're going to form some type of blow off top for Bitcoin's dominance to do something like this. And then we see the breakdown take place. And this breakdown for Bitcoin's dominance would be where the altcoins really go parabolic in the later stage of this bull run. So there's still time, guys. Arguably, you could literally just hold Bitcoin until this rotation takes place. And if Bitcoin pops above $100,000 and goes to $120,000 or $150,000, that's like what, a 2x? And then that rotation that takes place into altcoins, if XRP hasn't rallied yet, that's a safer play if you're planning on investing in crypto, or you literally just hold the altcoins that you believe in right now and you just wait for that rotation to happen for Bitcoin, because Tether's market cap dominance is still at 5%. It's in this relief rally in this macro downtrend since the high of June of 2022. And so similar to a bear market relief rally that we see happen for, Bitcoin, where in a downtrend, we just see lower highs, lower lows, then we see a relief rally take place, and it's short term and it's temporary before a continuation of the downtrend. Well, we see the same thing for Tether's market cap dominance, where during a bull market, we see these like relief sell-offs where we see lower lows, lower highs, but ultimately these are like bull flags where we coil up before a continuation of the uptrend. In a bear market, we just see the opposite. We see lower highs, lower lows, a downtrend, and then we see a relief rally where we see an attempt at a recovery, but inevitably this is just a bear flag right here before we break structure, and then we see a continuation of the downtrend in Tether's market cap dominance. Now, what would happen here is this break of this ascending support for Tether's market cap dominance and a back test as resistance would signal to me that a massive amount of money is going to come out of stable coins like USDC, USDT, Paxos, etc., and it's going to flow into altcoins and Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin really makes this parabolic blow off top in terms of its market cap dominance, that's when, in my opinion, Tether's market cap dominance would break down on that blow off top. And then when the rotation comes out of Bitcoin and Bitcoin's market cap dominance drops, that's when altcoins are really going to start to fly. Now, that brings me to XRP. For example, Ripple will be the first blockchain-enabled payment service provider to be licensed by the Dubai Financial Service Authority. Over 20% of Ripple's global customer base is located in the UAE. With their DFSA authorization, Ripple is set to roll out its enterprise-grade digital asset infrastructure to a broad customer base in the UAE. If you guys are still paying attention to altcoins right now, and the XRP lawsuit, you may be missing the plot here. Below is a timeline of the lawsuit, while simultaneously the macro crypto environment is extremely bullish. An XRP ETF is on standby, and the Ripple stablecoin will be remembered as a game changer. The SEC just filed their Form C, which gives some level of detail about what its plans to appeal is. And then 7 days from that appeal, Ripple will file its own Form C, which will give more details about its own cross appeal. So make sure you guys subscribe to get details on that. And then both parties will agree on a briefing schedule, and the SEC then has up to 90 days to file its first brief. Now, because the SEC has been stalling and dragging this lawsuit out, it's expected for them to take the full 90 days. That opening brief will be a full recitation of all the legal arguments that the SEC will be making. Ripple will file a response and then its own briefing. The full briefing process, according to Stuart Alderoty, will go until July of 2025. And so this is frustrating for XRP holders because XRP has just been ranging sideways since July of 2023. Inevitably, since the bear market low, it hasn't really been doing anything. But if we look at the past on the chart and what happened, this is very similar to what happened between like December of 2015 until March of 2017 when XRP finally broke out. And if we look at confluence on the chart, we see this resistance right here where XRP struggled to break above like 0.009. It got rejected from it in October of 2016 on this attempt of a breakout. We also simultaneously saw on the weekly chart a bearish cross on the stochastic RSI where the K line crossed below the D line. This is super important, guys, super important to pay attention to because the momentum shifted from bullish over to bearish on the weekly chart. And we saw a rotation happen where XRP's price sold off for a final time to back test the support that it was rejected from and bounced off of since January of 2016. We see a bounce right here. We saw a bounce right here. We saw a bounce right here. We saw a bounce right here. This sell-off took place. Momentum shifted on the stochastic RSI. We even wicked all the way below it right here in this like scam wick to get all these leverage traders out and to shake everyone out. You know, in my opinion, this was just to shake everyone out of XRP, but inevitably bounce right here. And then the true rally started for XRP. In my opinion, that's almost exactly what we're going through right now. Because as you guys can see, an attempt to break out right here at 90 cents when the judge declared XRP is not a security on the secondary market. Inevitably, the candle body closed right here. So we're not really going to look at the wick. So that means that this range is roughly around like 75-ish cents and then the support is roughly around like 40 to 43 cents. We see a support right here. We see a bounce off 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 support right here. And then we can also simultaneously see that, you know, the resistance is almost forming lower highs right here because we couldn't even clear 65 cents on this rally up. So anything that happens for XRP between 75 cents and 40 cents is irrelevant until one of two things happen. Number one would be a break of the resistance and a holding as support for a macro trend reversal to the upside. Or number two would be a break of support, just like I showed you guys for Bitcoin and a flippening as resistance for a macro trend reversal to the downside. So because on the stochastic RSI, I talked about this, we saw a bearish cross all the way back in August of 2024. And we've just been bobbling around 80 until finally we confirmed a bearish cross where the K line crossed below the D line and confirmed it by crossing below 80. And now the D line's at 51, the K line's at 21. We are in a downtrend on the stochastic RSI. Momentum has shifted from bullish to bearish, and simultaneously XRP did not break the resistance. And so in my opinion, XRP's price could just chop and do something like this going into 2025 to back test this level of support, similar to what happened back here by February of 2017, pissing everybody off. This would be the most likely case scenario. And this would be the shakeout effect that the elite want because the partnerships that Ripple has is insane, guys. They're partnered with virtually every central bank. XRP is at the center of all of it. Don't you think they would want to shake out people one last time? Like, think about it. You have billions of dollars. You don't need money to survive and pay your rent. And you can have all the patience in the world that you want while you shake out all the retail investors. This would be the most likely case scenario before XRP finally does break and go into price discovery after this lawsuit is over by July of 2025. It'd probably even take longer than that. They're probably going to find ways to extend their paperwork back and forth going into quarter 3 or quarter 4 of 2025. That's why I keep saying the end of 2025 is when I'm expecting something for XRP. 2024, I think is going to be irrelevant. And if anything, it's going to be actually the most important time for me. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm probably going to accumulate as much XRP as possible if it dips back down to 40 to 45 cents, because I'm going to be watching the stochastic RSI in the weekly, and I'm going to look to see if we are oversold and look for confluence on the MACD. I'm going to look at the regular relative strength index for me to accumulate more XRP. But in my opinion, we're going to continuously trend to the downside, potentially bounce off of 40 cents to anywhere between 40 and 50 cents. And then summertime to December is when XRP will do something big. Now, I know that's not what you guys want to hear because you're like, well, if altcoins are going up and Bitcoin's going up, but XRP is going down, why would I even hold any XRP? And that's a valid point. That's why we're launching our crypto education platform. That way you can take your knowledge and your portfolio to the next level if you want to diversify into other projects and know what else we hold in our portfolio and what we're bullish on that could run first before XRP does to be able to have success in the crypto market. So that way you're not just waiting on XRP, having all your eggs in one basket, which is a cardinal sin of investing. And you can know what it truly takes to become a crypto millionaire this bull run cycle. So if that sounds good to you, then you can join our early bird list for our exclusive altcoin picks, market analysis, and early access to our platform when it's released. You don't need any previous crypto trading experience. All you need to do is go to bullrunners.com. The link will be in the description below. Click the button on the page that says, yes, reserve my spot on the list. Put in your best email address. You'll get instant access to our Telegram group with over 12,000 members in it. You'll be on the early bird list to be notified first. And you'll be instantly subscribed to our daily video newsletter to receive value-based videos like this each and every single day right to your inbox. So that way you can be in the know and you can have a competitive edge on the crypto market. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I will see you on the next one. I will see you on bullrunners.com. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.